Everybody up. Everybody up. Good dog. Alright, let's finish this thing, huh? You could see it in their eyes that they were like, we're just really stiff from sitting here for so long, but we're ready to go. Like that was the looks that I got from all those dogs. And yeah, I had to walk in front of them. I didn't drag them. I had to walk in front of them. They ran on their own accord until, luckily Ray Reddington started right after me, and he went by, and his dog team went by great. And I think that was a little bit of help too, a little bit of motivation there, which was awesome. And then we just kind of kept Ray in our sights the whole way. I think it was good motivation for the dogs, but they were doing it on their own will. Immediately, I mean, I sat back and was like, I could sit here and ski pole, but I don't think they want to go any faster. We went the pace that the dogs wanted to go all the way in here, and they, when we saw the lights an hour and a half back or 2 hours back, they put it in after burners, and then we started going really fast, or what felt really fast to me. And then in safety, we stopped, we signed in. They could have easily went and dove underneath that cabin there, but I just gave Celia that dog up in front there, the G, and all 9 of them just went right over and said, yep, you have to finish this business somewhere else, and they knew it. So, yeah, it's been a gut-wrenching 24 hours, there's no doubt about it, but we just finished on a pretty high note. This dog team I didn't break their trust.
Any new tattoos inspired?
There's a lot of definite possibilities for sure. There will be something to put on my body to remember this race. There's no doubt about that. I mean, and the whole time I've got Basin's collar on the side of my sled, and there's no excuses, but there were a lot of times when I was like, if I just had Basin, if I just had the guy that in every situation, not only for me, but for the other dogs. He was like a dog that rallied the whole team. I feel like, my whole season would have been different had I not lost him, but it happens. But he was with us in spirit for sure. And I had all the other dogs just stepped it up, especially Celia. She led the entire Yukon Quest and led pretty much every mile of this, other than the first, maybe about 800 miles of this race. So, pretty special dog.
Thanks, Brent.
Brent, can you talk about when you first noticed that your dog's heads might not be in the race anymore? Was it not until outside of White Mountain, or was it before then?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was definitely, when we got to Koyuk, things started to, slow down. We just did a 108-mile run across the sea ice in really high winds, or fairly high winds, enough to make it so it's hard on you mentally. And they came into there looking great. But then I got there and we rested, and an hour into it, Dallas and Mitch came blowing through, and it was the decision I had to make was, am I going to stay in this race? Am I going to continue racing, or am I going to concede and basically not do it? And at that point, my dogs were looking good, but I knew I'd just done a 108-mile run, and that takes some steam out of you, 800 and some miles into the race. So, but I had faith, and like I said, I came to the game to play it, and the dogs at that point were still playing, and we took off, and then that run was exhilarating because I passed both of them, which I knew was going to happen. I knew they would rest up the trail, and we did a real good job of keeping a decent pace. And then I went by Mitch, and he got up and took off a little while after, and then I went by Dallas, and he got up and took off, and then that was when all 3 of us were going. And I knew then that, wow, we're competing. So I still had lots of faith in the dog team then. I still have lots of faith in the dog team. But it was when I knew that was too short of a rest in Koyuk. And when I got to Elam, I was 10 minutes behind Dallas, and Mitch was right behind me, and I grabbed straw and put it on my sled because I knew that it was probably a good idea to stop. But we took off, and we did great across the section of the sea ice there, and we popped up by a safety cabin, and we were about to get up into the hills, and I could still see Mitch's light, and I said, we can do this, I said, I want to race, and they did great. And we went up over those hills faster than I expected, and they went through Gullivan. We had a little bit of a hiccup there, but that was just because we had just been on another 90-mile run, And so we stopped and I fed them and they got up and they ran great into White Mountain, and I had all the faith in the world that we were gonna go and finish in 3rd place. And then, you know, it was just clear. I mean, physically they ate like alligators. They ate like alligators the entire race. They ate like alligators in White Mountain. But I could see there was an edge taken off of them. And I slept all right, but I knew that, you know, there might be a little bit of coaxing needed to get them out. But it wasn't until we got out there and I had 10 of them looking at me saying, nope, we need to rest more.
Brent, you talked about trust when you first came in. Was there a point where you were afraid that maybe they had lost faith?
Yeah, I mean, I bent the trust as far as you can, I feel like. But I knew that the moment that I was out there and they were all looking at me like that, if I backed off, if I went and laid them back down, that they would maybe, you know, keep the little faith. And I think they did. I mean, no, they did. They just ran it here amazing. They were an amazing. I mean, it was like, I was like, look at this. There's 9 beautiful dogs here, and we've just finished in the top 20 of the Iditarod.